Hey, you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forged Lands Forever. Today, I am casting another game of mine in the series on Journey to 1,000. It is a dual camp game, 6v6 custom, but let's go ahead and start with introducing our players, and then we can focus on my game plan. I'm going to slow it down just a little bit, so we do have time to make sure we can criticize my opening plays and all of that good jazz. We'll start here, of course, with Team 1 on the northern section of the map with the Batman Gray player of New Blood. He's going first land as a Cybran in the north air position. He is a 900. And to his south in Lattice Red Pig, we have Crane Domain going first land as a UEF. He is a 300 in the top land position. And in the bottom land position, we have Max Goldmaster going first land in Regal Purple as another UEF. As a 400, and of course myself, Strat Launch. Cannot get Strategic Launch, but could get Strat Launch as my username. I'm going first land in Forest Green as UEF, my favorite faction and color. And I am in the naval slot. And in the eco slot here for my team, we have Olomo going first land as an Aeon. He is a 600, and he is in glow in the dark green. And last but not least for team 2, we have Seraphim Khan, a 1300. He is going first land as Chevy Crimson, and again he is a 1300 in the southern air slot. So, you know, an average of about 650 for my team. Let's go ahead and introduce the eastern team, or team 2. Starting off in the north air slot, we have the player of Bluenite. That's with Leet Speech. I think that's what that means. Going first line, second air as an Aeon. He is in Royal Blue, and he is an 800. To his south in Light Oak Tan, we have Ra with 2 or 3 A's actually going first air as a Cybran. Very interesting. He didn't go land, but maybe he's going to get those early air scouts. Is probably what he's doing. And again, he is in the northern air slot as a 400, and in the south here, in the southern land slot, we have Geher. I don't know if the H is pronounced or not. He's going first land in Snow White. He is another Cybran for his team at a 400 rating. And in the naval slot here for team 2, we have All the While. I think that's All the While going first air as a UEF. So my mirror was another UEF. He is in Stitch Blue, and he is a 500. And in the eco slot here for team 2, it is Alchemical going first land in Tropical Ocean Blue, and he is an 1100, and he'll probably go second. I think he goes second air after this. I can't remember. I think he does. Anyway, again, he is an Aeon. And last but not least for team 2, it is Bryce. It's like Bra and then Yice, I think. So maybe Bryce going first air as a Cybran in Ruby Red, and he is an 800. So for team 2 side of things, they have 2 Aeon, 3 Cybran, and 1 UEF. No Seraphim for team 2, average at 667. Let's take a look at Reclaim. Of course, it is a dual gap map, and I feel like people in the comments are saying they know the exact mass still on the field, but we have 18,670 was the highest that I saw, which means probably, I think it was like 19,000, I think is the actual, or somewhere around the actual amount. So, you know, decent amount for players to scoop up. 19,000 between 12 players. But again, this is my journey to 1,000. So I will be talking about, you know, some of the other players in this game, but the main focus, of course, is myself, and having everyone in the comments rip me to shreds on my build order, my strategy, all that sort of thing. Right now, I'm just trying to get my eco up and running, getting T1 mexes, and getting T2 upgrades on them currently. Well, this one is paused, and I unpause it because I'm working on my eco. I do send an engineer off. I'm used to the older version of dual gap, where there's actually 2 spots, or 2 starting locations for players, and they're right next to each other. This one is usually the Navy slot, and this one was usually the eco slot. I'm used to sending my couple of engineers over there to get the mass up here. It's not a lot of mass, but it's something. And then, so I did send off an engineer in that direction, and then I'm sending engineers off in all different directions to gather the reclaim from those trees. And again, focusing with 8 mexes, I'm focusing heavily on getting my eco up and running faster than anybody else. And currently, it's about the same for everyone. 17, 18 mass. Of course, that's reclaim related. of course. Essentially, everybody's pretty much on the same vein in terms of mass per second. We do have a couple of stragglers, 13 and 9, on both sides of the field. But we do have my mirror of all the while building a decent amount of facilities, sooner than I am. And you'll see I start putting a couple of some facilities down, but that will hamper my ability to come into the Navy, as you'll see as time goes on. And of course, I know what you're thinking. Oh, you need to put it back to 0. That's probably what you were thinking. But anyway, we do see, again, bombs moving into the middle here for both teams, trying to get that middle mass point claimed. Of course, there's a lot of mass to be claimed here. Just not only just in the rocks themselves, but just, 4 mexes in the middle, and we have 5 on the top, 5 on the bottom, and another 3 up here. So that's a lot of mass for players to scoop up, to claim and get into their coffers. So that's why there's a hyper focus on just getting a facility up and running, maybe a couple of mexes, and just booking it to the front line. And we do see that my team is slightly ahead in terms of getting to the center of the map. Our team is barely leading in the mass per second. Not everybody survives this game, and there is a desync pretty late in the game. It doesn't, you'll see at the point where the desync happens, it doesn't really affect the outcome of the game, and you'll see why later on. But desyncs suck, and we had a couple of players leave to that, and that always is a pain. But of course, we'll talk about that as that gets closer and closer. And I have a couple of T2 mexes already on the field. I'm trying to follow Seraphim Calm, but just in the cast, I'm going to be focusing on, he's the highest rated player in the game. So if I try to eco very similarly to him, I won't be far off. It does look like he has more of a spread out engineer lineup than I do. A lot of my engineers are kind of just clumped together. So I think next match I play on this game or whatever other game is kind of just spread my engineers out just a little bit. I do have 3 engineers. I don't know what the optimum amount of engineers to build T1 power is. I probably should have just done 1 engineer for each, just do a line and then a line and then a line, which I will do eventually. I'll just keep producing T1 power because I need the power, especially for going for, not land, but Navy. I do start producing a couple of ships here, and I have them on what's that thing called where you set it to keep going? It's like on repeat. That's the word for it. I can't continually on repeat. So I have 1 frigate and 1 sub. I start with the sub because I do notice in a lot of games, a lot of people do start with frigates, or we do have my mirror doing literally the exact same thing I was doing, but just a little bit faster with the Tiger Shark. I have 1 engineer, and so you can see that I am slightly behind in getting the mexes in the middle of the map under my control. And in terms of T2 mexes, we do see he is going for mass storages between them earlier on. I try to wait, of course, till T2 mexes have been completed and then go fully ringed. I already have 4 of them, so I am leading the mass per second game in terms of my opponent, or my mirror at least, barely, but I am, which is always nice to look at. Of course, this is the first time I'm seeing this game after the fact. I kind of waited to just get my first impressions when it happens, but unfortunately, due to the fact that there is a lack of firepower on my side of things, 1 frigate and 1 Tiger Shark versus 1 Tiger Shark is not really going to go well for me. I do get my frigate online, and I do put my Tiger Shark down here just to try to try to establish some dominance. But unfortunately, due to that, I did leave these 2 mexes and my engineer very alone, and that will cost me an engineer and those 2 mexes, unfortunately. I'm trying to get the eco online. That's really what I'm mainly focusing on, is trying to get my eco up and running faster, so that way I can produce all of those units that I need to. And I have an engineer just spamming out facilities. I know I'll need them later on because I've seen games on Dual Gap. I know how crazy the Navy can get, so I just need to constantly produce. I did end up getting my my Tiger Shark to hang out right underneath the frigate, and unfortunately they did trade blows, and unfortunately I don't have another Tiger Shark on the field, so I will have to retreat. Again, 3 frigates versus 1 sub. That sub will win every single time. So I'm trying to chase that frigate down, but unfortunately there's a sub shooting at me. Most of the trees have been scooped up by my southern players, by the southern players on my team. And it does look like the eco player here for Olomo is starting to get these, T3 mechs. Not T3 mechs is started, but he's getting most of them ringed. He's going for T2 power now. He got rid of his facility here, and I think he'll go T3. I think that's usually what I see is the comm becomes the main kind of driving force, the engineer, and then you have a bunch of engineers assisting you what you're doing. But I was told, I think it says in chat, why are you building P? Later on, I do get told by my teammate of Sarah from Com to not push the middle of the map if I don't have the Navy. So I decided to just kind of hold up, defend this position. I do constantly pump out engineers to try to support my main T1 facility, and I decide to upgrade a different facility. So instead of having all my engineers focusing on, upgrading to T2, I think, well, I could have this one be producing units and then have this one upgrade, so that way the frontline one is not the one that's T2 and that one's the initial target. But there were a couple of T1 engineers or something that came up over here, and I started to assist, but all they were already destroyed by then. I just kind of keep these units kind of hanging out over here to the north. What I do like what my opponent is doing is producing a couple of air scouts just to kind of get some intel going for him. In terms of my mass per second, I'm currently at 55, so not the highest on my team, but I'm doing decently well considering there's a 900 on my team. Doing obviously a lot better than Crane. Crane has been completely overwhelmed on the north. Both of the land players here for Team 2 have just combined together to knock out Crane from his front line, and he's lost his entire base back here, and so he's had to retreat. A couple of engineers I think were gifted over to him to help assist in that. There is a say, hey, there's stuff here that you can use to rebuild. I'm starting to get my T2 rings up online. Of course, my comm is going for the assisting as well. So just trying to get those additional, mass per second on station. I like, God, stop breakdancing. You're freaking out over here. Stop breakdancing. There you go. We're currently at 9 minutes in this game. How's Team 2 doing? Well, T2 air, almost T3 online, T2 land, producing those engineers for that eco player. The air is still T2 as well, but he's, trying to produce some swift winds and trying to assist in claiming the skies over the northern section. What's really weird is that we hardly saw any air till this point out of New Blood. He's gone T2, is going straight to T3, but you would think he'd produce a couple of interceptors or something. We did see a couple of renegades to help assist with defense, but there wasn't really a lot, and now we have Max Gold Master retreating in the face of a couple of Mantis. He does have... Oh, his gun got canceled. That's what happened. Those renegades do come and assist. He has some mongoose. Those mongoose need to fall back. They're very weak. They don't have a lot of hit points on those bots. That engineer of mine does end up getting killed. And there he goes. There was a rock nearby, but I didn't go and claim it. Wasn't really focused on that. So I do start to push in my Navy once again. I feel like I have a decent force and start to push and try to retake the territory. That does definitively belong to me, to be fair. We did have a drop out here from my mirror to the east of out a while, but unfortunately those engineers were swiftly taken out, and now I notice, oh, there are some units firing at me. I should get the heck out of here, because one of my frigates is almost completely dead, and the other one is decently damaged, so I'm like, I need... And this is where I get told by Seraphim, say, if you don't push, if you don't have the Navy. And I really, what I should have done is should have gone for air scout. I should have gone for air facility, which I do see my opponent of all the while doing. That's what I should have done, to be fair. And so I think next time I play in the naval slot here on Settons, I'll go for T1 air first, and then get a couple of air scouts so I can kind of see what's going on. Because that is his advantage, is he has intel, which I talk a lot about intel, and I could just completely forgot about that for some reason. I don't know why. I went T2 land just to get some engineers, some T2 engineers to help, assist. I should have probably gone T2 on my comm itself to go for that, but, this is things I'm learning about after the fact, and due to the fact that I do have my facility next to a couple of mexes to reduce the mass cost of the engineers, I am not able to take advantage of fully ringing these 2 mexes, and so now I have another T1 line of T1 engineers building T1 power because I just need more power. You know, I'm just kind of, I'm not super struggling with power. I'm kind of am. I'm getting some overflow from my teammates, but I really need to get it under control. So I'm just constantly producing power. And of course, I've gone T2 Navy, and I'm producing a couple of destroyers. I should be going for frigates next. I think this is the frigate. No, that's still a destroyer. Right? Yeah, that's still a destroyer. I think that the next one is a cruiser. But I do have sonar. I was like, oh yeah, I need intel, so I'll go sonar. So, because why not? I need that intelligence. No one has died so far at almost 13 minutes in this game, so that was kind of nice to not, have someone die almost immediately. Especially in the middle, and especially because of the fact that Team 2 is crushing the middle right now. We need some sort of victory in that vein, or bad things are going to happen. We have T1 Medusa being spammed up, and Mantis as well to defend. Don't know why he just didn't go T2. He could have just gone T2, gunships and called it good. But again, not producing any air, and his mirror up to the north has T3 air. It's getting a nice air grid. Same here with the southern air player of Team 2. We have our own air player, but 2v1 air is not really the best situation you want to be in. And I have all of my mexes T2, and now I'm starting to go T3. I need more power. I built a T2 P-Gen to again fix my issues with power. And I'm staying positive. I have some mass in my bar, so I'm not completely stalling. And so I'm just trying to keep that bar kind of filled, not really filled, but just have something in the clip, and then I completely spend it all, and then now I'm stalling. But trying to get those T3 mexes, they cost a lot of mass, especially when you're assisting the upgrade. So and producing units and trying to keep that front line. Don't push if you don't have it. The Navy. So in terms of Navy, I don't have the numbers, but I definitely have the tech with 3 destroyers, and just there's no T2 at all here. I don't think he has gone T2 of now, but he has 1 destroyer online. So I feel like, at least looking back, I could have maybe pushed. But what's very interesting, at least on his point of view, he could have actually moved and at least gotten these 3 mexes under his control, had a couple more mass income. Now, in terms of mass, I am at 71. He's at 80, so he's doing a little bit better, especially when he has 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 mass per second from these T1 mexes. And he's upgrading to T2, I think, as we speak as well. But he's not assisting. He's just doing, just the upgrade, just not assisting. And so right now, I'm about to tick over to T3 mechs, 84% of the way there. I want to build some shields to protect my mexes just in case the Navy does come in. I want something to protect myself. And now we have a cruiser online. And he does have a couple of, veterancy points because there were some units coming in to annoy my teammates up in the north. And I'm trying to, kind of watch what's going on in the north, because I'm very fearful of if everything up here is taken out, I'm the first one in line, and I don't want to be that first one in line. So I go, what can I do? What can I do? So I just kind of just keep thinking about that. And now we have the cut in the mountain here for the northern side for dual gap. So now what happens if, it can just go straight into the middle player here, and then you can fan out to other directions. But we have Medusa fighting against Mantis, and unfortunately Medusa, they can hit a moving target, but Mantis are definitely better on one-on-one engagements. You need to get a radar online, says Olomo, or at least for the northern side. And we have T2 Mongoose. Probably Rhinos would have been better here for max gold, just because they are stronger and you don't have to micro them as bad, considering one just died. Mongoose do have those grenades on them as well. And I do notice, of course, there are units that came in and are going after the mexes. Unfortunately, there is a triad that has been built by my teammate, and so most of those will be thrown off. And most of those units do die off. But Team 2, still staying strong. And we even have the naval player of Outer Wild just actually grabbing some T1 mexes here as well. And I do start to push with my Navy. I'm like, I think I have, decent force, couple of destroyers, couple of boats, couple of subs and whatnot. So, I have that. And they only have 1 T2 destroyer. So I go, I do get pinged. Like, hey, watch out. Hey, what's going on? So not, I just kind of want to shove them off a little bit. I don't want them grouping up too close to my front, too close to front line, because the last thing I want is to have units come in and just, walk on the land, which he's UEF, so that won't happen, but still. Don't want to have some, group up. I'm penned into a corner. I do want some movement here, and so I am cognizant of the middle. I want to make sure that if there's units coming in, they're being shot at by my my naval fleet, and I do have, of course, those missiles going in and going after targets, and that's 3 engineers dead right there. And now I'm going after some mass assassinations because trying to take out some eco would be great. That is the wrong player. There we go. 17 minutes in, still no one has died, and essentially Team 2 controls the middle. I was kind of surprised that Team 2 didn't push the advantage as much as they did, because they are leading mass per second, they are leading map control, they're leading a lot, and they're kind of just hanging back. Maybe that just goes to inexperience. I don't know. I mean, I'm a 400 in this game, so what do I know? But I'm producing, again, more destroyers, more cruisers, more everything. I want to be sure I'm protected in all avenues, and you're probably thinking, why aren't you building bulwarks? You're UEF. I'm like, yeah, I know. And so, actually, not that I forget that they exist, but I wanted firepower first, and then shields, and then, protection. But I'm starting to do... I do that eventually. You'll see that later on, where I just have a bunch of bulwarks, because why not? But I called most of my engineers off because, I just need the eco. I need to get that under control. I'm, stalling mass. I need something to really jumpstart my eco. So now I'm starting to mass assist those upgrades. And still the T1 power. I know this bugged me. The T1 pigeons didn't line up, and that I just had to ignore it. And for some dumb reason, I started to build a mass storage. I'm like, no, that's not what I wanted to build. And so I just, just threw T1 power down. So I have enough power for now. And, it's not a lot, but I have something in a positive. And there are players on my team that are more positive than me, so I will get some of that overflow as well. But no SMD, says Seraphim on the other side of the map. And I do look, I'm like, oh yeah, there is no SMD. There is a Salvation started, which is very, very early, I feel like. Not even going T3 Emissary, just going straight to Salvation. I feel like Emissary probably would have been the better play here for that eco player of Alchemical, but, I am a 400, he's a 1100, but I do cast games a lot, so it kind of mitigates it a little bit. But we have a nice incursion going on here from Team 2's Ra, and I do send my destroyers in as well to help assist with that firepower and defense. A couple of destroyers for Crane getting into the naval game as well. We even have the air player of Nuke Blood also getting into the naval game, which I'm like, why? Because there's really no point. We have some Corsairs flying around, going after a comm, going after engineers, but that nuke does get launched by our team's air player of Seraphim. And so that's going to go straight for the eco player and go straight for, whatever he can. What I do like about that placement, you'll see it in a minute, is the fact that he landed it here, so it does flow over just a little bit into the air player of Bryce. I think, again, I feel like I'm saying his name wrong, but I'm probably not. And a couple of GGs go down in chat. And the comm of Alchemical just control case. This doesn't even let the nuke land. It was just finished. There it goes. It's going to land. Doesn't want to give that nuke launcher any veterancy. And there goes just one T3 Pigeon and a couple of mexes. So it would have taken out most of Alchemical's base, and it just singes the hairs on Bryce's base. Not terribly bad, but he could recover from that pretty easily. But it wasn't like the worst thing that could have happened to him. So it was a good placement. I wish I would have seen the full damage of what would have actually been taken out. But this is a no-share game. And so, well, I don't know if... Oh, no. Yeah, it was a no-share game, so... Well, at least share until death. So everything that he built was destroyed. And now he's going ARAS. He has another nuke, and he's loading that. I'm like, oh, great. We have a teammate gone straight nuke. We have another nuke here. We have a nice grid going down there for Olomar. This was a very interesting grid that was built by him. I have no idea what's going on here, but there's a lot of overlap, which I do like. He has a lot of hives. Got some Cybrin hives from his teammate up in the north. He is Aeon, so we had some engineers donated over to him. And now he's just producing a bunch of stuff. There's just a random, SACU running. That's an engineer preset. Very interesting. He went for engineering instead of RAS here for Seraphim. It was donated over to him, but there is some strategy with that. I don't know. I am still learning, of course, so bear in mind if I say something dumb. But, of course, it is now a 6v5, and it was essentially about the 20-minute mark. So, is he statistic? Yes. He would have probably died anyways with that nuke, but he just wanted to quit before, not give our player of Seraphim comms the veterancy for that nuke launcher. Still got some veterancy, but would have had a lot more. We do see, of course, the cannibalization of that teammate's base here in the south for Team 2. And that, of course, will also jumpstart the naval eco for Alderweil as well, because he is my mirror. That's why I'm focusing on just a little bit. But currently, I'm at 213 in terms of mass income, and he's at 161. And he has more map control as well. So I am just trying to jumpstart my eco. I have all T3 mexes before 23 minutes. I feel like I can do a lot better, and I go T2 because I'm like, I want some more engineering power on my comm to build a bunch of other structures. And so I go and notice that there's no tele-defense, and so it gets pinged by my teammate. And so I'm like, I can send some of my engineers to build some T2 triads, because there are going to be T1 PD being built as well. So I figured getting a mix of both T1 and T2 is a lot better. I don't go Ravagers for that, just because it takes time to spin up and all that. They do a lot of damage, but it could be over in seconds, and I don't want it to be seconds. We do get an eye online, which is very nice to have, of course. If you're Aeon, and if you've been playing this game for a while, you also know. I don't know where this transport was going for Raw. I really don't. There's my Bulwark Shield online as well. Gonna get a few of them here pretty shortly, and then cruisers just a little bit far back just to protect them. I don't want any incursions. Of course, I can see that naval fleet here. I'm kind of cognizant of that as well. We see some T1 frigates coming in. They act as my scouts, which I did appreciate. But this is a nice fleet. Again, I am surprised by the fact that all the while, has a decent amount more mass, in terms of mass points, and he's still not ahead. Has a T2 naval facilities, doesn't need those, and then now has a T3, which is great for him, of course, but he doesn't need 2 of them, and a third T3 headquarters. I have T3 as well. I'm just pumping out bulwarks out of this T2 facility. And these are just going T1. I'm just trying to spend some mass. I think at this point I have some mass in the bar. I really don't need I mean, it's always needs to have mass, but I'm worried about the fleet sort of thing. So I'm just producing T1 frigates for some cannon fodder. Then I have this thing producing all shields all day, every day. And then I'm going for a couple of Neptunes, and then I'll switch over to summits later. But I wanted that engagement with the Neptunes. I know how powerful they are in, a T1, T2 environment. Of course, we have a lot of Coopers here for my opponent. I could have probably gone a couple of Coopers as well. I didn't. I probably should have. I could have done more with that. And then, of course, we just have some patrolling units from my teammate of Crane to just kind of circle about. Going T3 as well on my comm. Again, more protection in terms of hit points. I want to use my comm a little bit more engineering-wise. And I think I go T3 for the land headquarters. I can't remember. And then I did produce some T3 engineers out of that to start getting some RAS comms gated in, because I need more eco. I cannot have enough eco. 2 of my teammates are at, this one's Olamo is almost at 400, and then Seraphim's at 300, and I'm at 213. I thought I was doing pretty good considering my rating and whatnot. I need to get a little bit better on timing everything in terms of, how fast I get my eco up, all of that. And again, the air player in the north has started to produce some air facilities, started to produce some air units, but, should have been doing that a while ago. And we do still have the air player down south and north here for Team 2. So they have air superiority for now, not dominance, but they do have superiority, which you got to always watch out for, because there is a difference, which means, if the other team has an Awasher and you just have its air superiority, you can still fight it and go for it and kill it. You'll lose your air, but at least you take out the experimental. bomber, but if you have, they have air dominance, good luck. But we do have a strat snipe tried by our teammate of New Blood, and it does drop some bombs. I don't remember if he kills them or not, but this comm is on an upgrade. It doesn't kill the comm. It does damage him severely. The bombers do get taken out, but it was a nice attempt. You need to have mass in storage to build a nuke. And it says Seraphim. You can't mass stall if you want to build a nuke. I think he was talking about he's wanting to load that nuke, and he does have one loaded, but he wanted to load more of them. He was just struggling to try to figure out why he couldn't. So our team is producing a bunch of nukes and a bunch of RASCOMs and Eco and all that. The southern team over here to the east, or the southern portion of Team 2, still doesn't have another T3 SMD. They have one down here. I do like the second one up here coming out from Auto Wild. He doesn't need it, but just to look at the range for this thing, it does cover most of his base, but it doesn't cover, you know, you could probably edge out half of those mexes, so he probably just wanted to protect himself, which I don't blame him. Having redundancy is always important, but there is a thing as too much redundancy, especially in FAF where you can have too much mass being spent. But a huge, you know, naval fleet is starting to amass for my opponent here in the naval side of things. I have one Neptune. He has one as well, but he has a bunch more boats than I do. But I do have a second Neptune as well and a bunch of destroyers up here that I haven't moved in a while. And I'm just building bulwarks. I currently have 7 of them, and that's not, you know, I definitely build more than that. When you clicked on the video, you saw the thumbnail. You definitely know I built more than that. But I do start building a Novax because I'm like, oh, I'm UEF. Why not build a Novax? So I start producing that, and can you start Yolus's Olomo? And you know, I haven't seen a YOLO in a while in terms of the casting, not in terms of the game. So I'm like, yeah, that'd be a good idea. And he does agree to it. So, you know, I'm aware of that. I'm like, okay, my team's going to go YOLO. But they prepared already for Nuke to build a Salvation. So I do love that. Serapham's like, look, they're starting to prepare for Nuke defense. Instead of doing that, we should just do a Salvation. And I love that switch up because you're taking the intelligence that you have for what your opponent is doing and going, we have a plan. Will that plan work? No. Let's do a different plan. That might work. And so now they're going to do Salvation instead, which is the better play. You know, I just wanted to build this Novax not near anything because it's the whole why, oh why, do people build stuff on top of one another? But I need to figure out a template for this Quantum Gateway because it is all messed up. I need to figure out some template for that. I know there's probably some casters or other videos on YouTube about you know, the best templates for those sorts of things. Probably the Duelist probably has something. I wouldn't be surprised. He's one of those you know, by the numbers guys, which, you know, in this game it had a lot of math in it, a lot of that sort of thing. So, you know, the more assistance, the better kind of thing. My opponent does get a summit online. I think I have a summit now. No, I have 3 Neptunes. I think now now I'm going summit as well. This facility does get taken out, you know, because I want those mass storages, and I don't know. It's just eventually one of these does get switched over to just engineer production because I need a bunch of build power. But I stopped producing a bunch of these frigates just because I just don't have the mass. You know, -1 mass is great. I was like, oh, -1 mass is great. And then build Navy, not a Novax. And so I go, oh, okay, well, I'll listen to the, you know, 1300 in the game because he knows what he's doing. So I just take his advice, reclaim that, and that's fueling my eco to produce other things. So I'm like, oh, that's fine. It's not the worst thing. Obviously, constantly being aware of the naval fleet in the middle. I don't want him to push. Definitely don't want that to happen. I do like the fact that he has just a couple of units down south as kind of a vanguard to ensure that if I do move my units, that you know, I'm aware of that. Of course, we do have, you know, this is the nonsense going on over here, but a nuke does get launched here by my team. It was the one that's been, you know, held in a while. He has another nuke in the clip as well, and I think he tries to go for yeah, he goes with Navy for this one. I don't know if my opponent moves it or not, and he does end up moving it. I don't remember how much he kills off. He goes, oh, that thing's inbound for me. That's not great. He does get the T3 sonar platform, which is nice, taking out some intel. Takes out a decent section of the naval fleet, but not a terrible amount. It wasn't enough for me to push it. I was going, I don't want to push. I just gonna want to hold off for a little bit, and then he goes right back to it. But taking out some of the fleet was good. Had I coordinated a little bit better, I could have capitalized on that movement. There's only one Neptune in there. There is a summon as well. And I could probably at this point overwhelm him. I have a decent amount of frigates that get transferred over to me as well. I have a lots of shields. I have a lot of shields. Now I have 12 shields. Oh, that's so many shields. Get this nice little side shot just to get you an understanding of, is this enough shielding? Is this enough bulwarks? I was like, I cannot have enough bulwarks. Just can't have enough, because each bulwark, you know, that's 5,500 hit points. You're just saying nah to, and I have 12 of those, so that's a lot of hit points I'm just ignoring, or a damage I'm just ignoring. And, you know, 31 minutes in this game, I'm still trying to, do what I can with the naval side of things, do what I can with the eco side of things. And, of course, they're building the Salvation. I go, oh, I can assist with that. I don't have a lot of eco to spare, but I have something. And I am, stalling mass. The nuke, or something explodes. I forget what explodes. Oh, Rascom explodes over here. And they're building a Scathis. I don't know if we see that, but we does get teleported in
Strategic launch
by what gets who died? Yeah, key control Cade. I forget what happened here. I think I was looking at it, completely forgot. I think what happened was a couple of units came in, a couple of bombers came in and killed the P-gems, and then obviously killed the comm. They got my SMD, says BlueNet. Oh yeah, that's what it was. So they were assassinating the SMD, and then they got the comm in that mix as well. So comms do end up just straight up moving, and I think a nuke does get launched, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. None of them are loaded. I thought, again, it's the whole, I played this game, I went on the holiday, went for Christmas, and then came back, so I'm still trying to remember everything. The nuke does get launched. I do remember it does get launched, but Olamo does get control K. Bryce gets control K, because that's some connection. There's the desync. But the desync was a lot later in the game. We had an actual desync like later in the game. 8 rage quit, just the number of rage quit. So the Southern air player left. We lost our eco player, and I immediately go, we don't have an SMD. And you can see I immediately placed that and went, I need that. So I thought the control kit, but the desync was later on, but I guess not. But team 2, they don't have that Gathis that they were building. So they were going for a game ender as well. Down south, the naval player is, trying to cover. He has the entire southern section of the map to himself. Lots of eco, lots of stuff. SMD as well. I mentioned in the comment, I was like, look, we need an SMD. He's saying, don't take all the reclaim. I was like, that's perfectly fine. But I was like, I need an SMD. I can't not be protected by that, because we don't have any SMD. We lost the nuke. We lost the Salvation that was almost done. Like, there's a lot of mass here. He's following it straight into a Salvation. But I say I need that SMD online sooner rather than later. And I just don't want to be nuke, because I don't know. Maybe the other team has a nuke, and I don't know. They don't, which is nice to know now. But, at the moment, I'm like, I need that SMD. And then he sends a huge spy plane, intel gathering out, and I go, okay, I know what the force is down here. I know they don't have a lot of big ticket items. They have a summit, they have a Neptune, and that's it. And currently what I have is 2 summits, 3 Neptunes, a third summit, and then I just start my 4th one as well. So I'm producing chunky units, still producing shields. I think I get told by him eventually to yeah, pretty low. I know. Thanks. Oh yeah, I think the ACU explosion finished him off. That's the please don't build just shield boats. Says just don't don't build just shield boats. That could be the tagline for the video, or the text in the thumbnail. Don't build just shield boats. And I think at this point I do stop and I go back to cruiser and destroys. But 14 shields. That's a lot of shield power. What is fun? Oh, it's this this Ace missile sub. This is like, I didn't even notice that thing firing at me. Because it's just impacting a shield that I'm not really paying attention to. Out of water, says Seraphim Calm. But the middle completely opened up. There's a huge effort. There's also some cormorants, which can't target ground units in terms of, land units. They have to target naval units. And here comes the ASFs to clean up here for my teammate of Seraphim. We have a strat bomber running around here and a couple of Corsairs inbound. I think they go for the comm directly. Yeah, they go for the comm directly, but, there's some protection here. I do bring back, I think, my governors as well to help, overlapping 8A coverage, I think. Maybe that was earlier. Anyway. But he's pretty much protected there. I'm still focused on producing naval units. I'm, of course, assisting the SMD as fast as I can. I'm like, I need this thing online. You focus on something else. I bring in some of my engineers to assist with my eco. We finish the salvation. And then that thing's going to start launching artillery as fast as it can. And, of course, I do love that he's gone for strategic missile submarine. I probably should have built one for some mobile nukes, but I just focus on raw power in terms of damage. So, 3 Neptunes, 3 Summits, a 4th one now online. Constantly producing RASCOMs out of this thing. I probably needed more build power for here, to be honest. I'm producing, what's my mass income? 382. My teammates at 500. So, of course, I can see that. Nobody else in the game, at least on the other side of things, are producing more than 300. Of course, that's, somewhat due to lack of the everything. But the comm of New Blood comes in and teleports in to kill stuff off. And I'm like, great, he killed stuff off. But that is a loss. And we do launch a nuke. He killed off the SMD here for the enemy. And now we have a nuke going straight for the Navy. And I go, I think it's time to start moving in. I try to see how much damage. He targets the Navy. I didn't notice this in-game. He uses the salvation directly on the Navy, which is, you don't need to do that. It's nice. I appreciate it, of course, as the naval player in the game. I didn't notice that at the time. But I forget how much he kills off. I think he kills off the summit, I think. No, it just someone gets out of range. But, the units are completely, out of whack. They're running around. And I'm just holding position. I'm just building up units, building up defenses. I'm just going to sit here and just eco up, just hang out. And, of course, this player, my opponent of Out of While is just constantly producing naval units, which is good. But the thing is when you have a force this big, you might as well attack and try to do some damage. But now the Salvation is targeting something else. It's targeting the opponents in the north for Team 2. And there is a artillery set up. Possibly they're rapidly trying to produce some anti-nuke missiles in that SMD. But Salvation's going straight for that air grid. Normal is no share, yes. For New Blood, yeah. No, I think the reason why no share is on dual gap is because then you can just have a couple of players control K and just one player gets 800 mass income and they just spam up artillery and then that's it. At least with this, if everything's killed off, it does take a while to go in, get the T2 mexes, get everything. And essentially at this point, I do see the Navy push forward a little bit. And of course, we see all the everything firing at them. And I don't know why they're moving so slow. I don't know what that was about. But I'm just going to sit and kind of wait, use my, the TMD on my ships to deal with their missiles. They don't have a lot of TMD on there, so we're just raining missiles in from our cruisers. And the Salvation is the most important thing. It, is the most important thing. I get a couple of T3 mexes just to assist my eco. Most of them were taken by my teammate, which is perfectly fine because he's busy doing other things. But we have a decent-sized Air Force movement. A couple of strat bombers. They were trying to take out the nuke directly. Unfortunately, it doesn't really do a lot if you only have 2 of them, especially against Seraphim shields. And now we're just throwing missiles at our naval opponent. And, yeah, it's not really going. I should have been microing those a little bit more. There are some, TMD on board those cruisers. And we're essentially out-producing missiles than what the TMD can kill. But this naval fleet is slowly moving in. I don't know why it's... I think it's a formation move. I think that's why they're moving so slowly. And my units are just going to sit. My summits are starting to become in range, so they're starting to fire at units in the water. And then I start moving my summits just a little bit over so I can get a better range on them. Of course, I have my Neptune as well, and they're just sitting there. I see their Neptune, and all of their Navy is coming into view. They're producing a donut. which I didn't notice that earlier on. Maybe I did, I don't know. But they line up and just kind of sit and throw artillery at one another, and we have the Salvation. I do appreciate Salvation coming in and assisting, targeting the higher value units, trying to cheat, says Crane Domain. I don't know what that's about. I don't know why that message pops up. There's some maybe console command that he accidentally pushes or something. But the summits are in range. I take out the high value targets, the Neptunes, of course. But I go after first. I'll take out the high damage units and then go after everything else. We have going after destroyers as well. But essentially this is the rock that they dash their hopes upon. And there's really nothing that can fight against this. I'm still ecoing up. I'm still, not giving up. I'm not just being satisfied with whatever 440 mass. I definitely know I have a lot more room for improvement at 41 minutes in this game. Only 400 mass per second. I do a lot better. I'm getting a couple T3 mexes and whatnot, but definitely could have doing a lot better. I think I'll need more build power. And then he decides to build a Paragon, because why not? And I go, oh, that's right. I'm UEF. I can build Atlantis, because why not? So I start producing Atlantis, and so is my teammate to the north of Crane. And of course, most of those units have been dealt with here. There is the sub, and it has a nuke loaded. Oh no! Out of while, you could have targeted my navy. That would have hurt a lot. Oh no! And then it gets killed off by Coopers and whatnot. Oh, that's disappointing. Nuke sub says, Sarah from Com. It gets taken out immediately. And it was loaded too. Oh, that would have done a decent amount. I had that SMD. The thing would have covered, my main base and my main facilities. But, edge nukes would have taken up maybe, decent size of my fleet here. Oh, dang it. That sucks. Just goes to show you got to keep track of those nuke subs and when they build. Because that nuke, not necessarily would have changed the game, would have definitely slowed me down a lot. And that's got to hurt. There, just shells impacting everywhere up to the north. We're going to get a Paragon here sooner rather than later, but just stops because need more shielding. And I go, I need more shielding. So I start spamming out shielding. I need shields. I need shields. I need shields. I don't know why this one. Oh, I think I get asked for T3 shielding, I think, by my teammate. So I just start building some shielding. It's enough, trust me. I go, okay, please stop. It's enough. Stop talking about the shielding. And I go, okay, you can see all the commands to build stuff. He's even, queued up a YOLO as well, because why not? I think I'm going to speed it up, though, a little bit, because you can see what direction this game is going. I think I'll go 4. There is a smaller fleet down south here. Please stop the shield. Stop this. It's Sarah from Com. It's like, okay, fine. I'll cancel all the things. I'll finish this one, and then I think I'll leave that one alone. I think I just kick. We'll do. Thanks. Kick. Oh, talking about there was a player who was having some trouble with some connection, so we ended up having to kick him. But that's when I thought the desync happened, was right around here. Apparently happened a lot sooner. I think I'll just drop it to 2. I think 2 is fast enough. But we take out that summit pretty handily. Of course, all the bulwarks coming nice and, just straightforward, not caring. I only have 10 more left online. I just throw everything I have at him. I know he doesn't have a lot left, and he doesn't really has a couple of destroyers. He's trying to line up some T2 torp launchers, which, they don't do a whole lot, unfortunately. We have the Salvation raining in on his mexes as well, so he's taking out his eco. I built another Atlantis, and they just sit at base. I should have thrown them at the front line, but I just wanted to build them because I was in the Navy slot, and I was UEF, and I love Atlantis. So I do have my teammate of Crane coming in. They did suffer in the land early on, but Team 2 didn't really capitalize on as much as they probably should have. And there's a comm over there to the north. And so we're taking out everything. Here come my summits inbound. They built a donut, which I was like, oh, that's great. I don't want to deal with that. We can't see it right now. But my laser just going through anything and everything, taking out what it can from those Neptunes. Targeting the torp launchers. And then I take out the engineers as well. I'm like, stop doing that. Stop producing those defenses. There's another nuke sub right here. That gets taken out pretty soon. They had a Tempest. They built a Tempest, which was great. But with, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 summits plus a couple of Neptunes. I should have moved my Coopers up, my bulwarks up to help assist. I just took these units and moved them in. I didn't move everything else because everything just starts to bottleneck and it just gets annoying. But the comm of Blue Knight does control K. There is a nuke inbound as well, and Auto Wally control Ks as well. And then after that, it's just, you know, a 4v1 in favor of our team, and it's Raw left standing, and he's just hanging out up here. He has a mass fab, he has his comm, couple of couple of hives, and just hangs out and just throwing anything and everything at him. I go, oh, I'll just move in. Why not? Everything's dead. I'll just keep moving. And there he goes. That's it. I think, yeah, there was a slight connection issue at the very end, but there it is. There is my first game on the channel for myself playing Dual Gap. I ended up having 778 mass income. I can't be right. No, it is. That's a lot of positive. I think I had a connection issue like at the very end, but we won anyways. It doesn't really matter. You can. That's why I made the comment about the desync. Kind of, you know, kind of what direction the game was going at some point, especially with Team 2's highest rated player leaving with that nuke. Didn't finish the Paragon. Didn't even get the YOLO started. Oh, it didn't barely get started. But you know, I need to figure out a better strategy. I even build a T1 land facility because like I need more engineers. And I decided to build a nuke because I'm like, why not? I'll build a nuke. Why not? They get a shield on my commander as well to protect it and RAS. But again, let me know down in the comments what you think a better build order should be in terms of you know, this Navy position. I do want to improve. I do want to improve on the land and air and sea game. But again, I keep focusing on this in other videos. The eco was the hardest thing for me to, not grasp isn't the right word I want to use, but like figure out in terms of when I should do upgrades, when I should not do upgrades. So any and all advice, I would greatly appreciate it. Again, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying this kind of series. Hopefully you enjoy this kind of content where I'm talking about my thoughts, my ideas, what's going on with the game in general, but kind of from my perspective versus an overall caster perspective. But again, let me know how you feel. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see all of you wonderful people in the next one.